Hello, survivors, and welcome to another video. In today's video, we are on Nordic Ashes. We've got a brand new update with a new character released. His name is Hansi. Now, in order to unlock Hansi, you have to kill 100,000 enemies. But the very nice thing is if you've done it before, if you've killed that many enemies before Hansi's release, you are able to just go into a random run and kill one enemy and you will unlock him. Now, Hansi is a Shadow Weaver, I guess is a word to use with him. And what he does is his passive creates shadow orbs on the ground, which increase your crit by 15% per orb, up to a maximum of 5. And then every time you take damage, you lose a maximum of 1 shadow orb. Now, there is only a slight chance of seeing them, so make sure you pick them up in the 10 seconds that you're available before they disappear to get that juicy crit. Now, let's go into his tree first, before I end up forgetting about it. Now, what happens in his tree is two of his relics or his weapons are actually summons, or it says summons there because they are not actually a part of him. You do summon shadows that deal damage for you, but the summons tag in Yggdrasil does not affect those shadows, so you do not need to have the plus in summons, those 15 leaves over there. You do not need effective probability or status duration. So what I've done is I've gone for the 15% crit, which is fantastic. I've grabbed myself a little help to get ourselves so that every time we pick up gold, we have the maximum amount of gold. We've also gone for the chest upgrade, so that chests do have more options for us. And then we've also gone and made sure we have free rerolls over here, and I'll show you why with that, why it is important to get the crit and the free rerolls. Let's go over his skills quickly. Well, I'm not going to go over them, I'm just going to show you what each one does. We'll talk about that while we're playing. Actually, it will be a lot faster. So let's get straight into it. We haven't beat Vanaheim on expert yet, so that's what we're going to be doing. And the first things first that we want to talk about is that you do want to, he only has 2 weapons, so you do want to try and get that reset on the shrine. It's really not that difficult. We are only playing on expert, so it's not necessary, but it is very good to get it. So let's take a look at his constellation. Very cool over here. So these are the daggers that we are currently using. You want to be looking for damage, crit, and then projectiles are also very good. Duration makes their flight spam a lot longer, but you do want to make sure that every single reroll that you get has crit in it. So you do want to keep re-rolling. That's why we do have the re-rolls. We want to make sure we've got that juicy crit on nearly every single roll. Over here, the projectiles is very good, and I'll speak about that now when we do get his first Ascension, and we will talk about why projectiles is why projectiles is important. It's actually for his first Ascension because you actually create multiple waves of daggers, or 3 waves of the daggers, so you do get a lot more attacks happening. But we'll see as well when we've created his actual Ascension. We go for the second Ascension first because it's just free damage. But the reason I say projectiles is important is because his second Ascension will affect more enemies based on how many projectiles you have. So as you can see, daggers also appear from enemy shadows. That is his second Ascension on the daggers. It is my favorite one. We're going to grab that, and now what happens is under 8 enemies we are going to create daggers. That is how I see it. That's how I've experienced it. The more projectiles you have on the character, the more enemies you are affecting with the depth of shadows. So you do want to try and get quite a few projectiles on the character. Now, as you see on the floor over here, I'm going to pause quickly on the map over there. These red fires, these are the shadow orbs, and now when you collect them, you can see these red like blood orbs circling Hansi. Now that means that you have your passive up already, so we've received 30% extra crit, and you can see in the bottom over here on the crit, we're already on 45% crit chance, which is fantastic because that affects absolutely everything that we're going to be picking up, including other weapon relics that you can find from shrines or the shop. Now, the reason we went for the pickup gold is because we do want to get as much gold on him as possible, and the reason for that is actually because there aren't a lot of relics that affect darkness typings right now, which is what he is. So, you know, a lot of the relics that you're going to be looking for are going to be of epic quality or higher, and that's just not going to happen unless you get a lot of gold one and reroll. Or the other option you could land up getting is going to be looking for a lot of runes that increase crit and or increase damage. So those are the ways that you can roll this. You can either re-roll the shop hoping for reset, gnocchi, things like that, twin blade, which is going to increase it, or the defensive ones like Astrid shield, Ragnar shield, the Aegis helmet and things like that. Those are all very, very good here. The health relics are very, very good as well, but none of those are of epic or legendary quality. Connect will be very, very, very good here as well. Getting all of your weapon relics from your constellation would just be insanely strong, so that's something to look out for as well. But again, because there's not a lot of damage coming from the relics that aren't super rare, I personally think looking for runes that are crit, duration even, or cooldown and damage are going to be very, very helpful. And those projectile crits could be absolutely fantastic as well, because that's just going to be an increase in total damage because you're going to be shooting more enemies from underneath them as well. So definitely worth getting. Now you can see I am doing all of these shrines, and the reason for that is actually because this is all going to turn into free gold for me. So, you know, the more shrines we do, the more relics we get that we're not going to be using are going to be turned into a free gold further down, or, you know, as soon as we get to not killing so many things or something like that. The other thing that I am hoping that we get in the future from either the Yggdrasil, because the Yggdrasil is getting branches of updates that are specific to characters in the future. It was supposed to happen, but it didn't. That's not the end of the world. We got a really cool, fantastic character instead right now. But what I would like to see is one darkness and holy being there. I would also like to see some darkness and holy relics added to the game in the future as well, and even something that you know, supplements the two, because, you know, darkness and holy are always those polar opposites. So getting like a darkness to holy charm, like we've got the fire to poison and poison to electric, would be really cool to see in the game as well. So those are just my thoughts on some upgrades that I would like to see in the game. But before we carry on with that, let's hit our constellation up. As you can see, we are on 35 points, and the most fantastic thing about his constellation is his ultimate. His ultimate is a dash. Yes, you heard me, it is a dash. So we've got a 6-second cooldown over here. You do want to try and obviously get crits on it because it does deal damage, but you do want to roll cooldown on it as well. So we're going to roll this one over here, although we don't really want the duration on it, but it's fine. So we got a huge amount of crits over there, a huge amount of cooldown, well, 1 second cooldown, but it is quite big. And we also going to look over here. So because you can see our crit is 146%, what we actually going to do is we are going to grab the Hod's Amulet over here. You get to pick between Hod's Amulet and Shadow Potion. Shadow Potion makes it that 50% of all of the crit that you have is turned into damage. 50% of the critical chance that you have above 100% will become damage. Now we're already on 90% crit chance over here, and we've already max rolled him. So for me to get to over 150% crit chance is going to be quite difficult, or I'm going to have to pick up you know, the crit potion as well as other crit runes. So today we're going to be going for Hod's Amulet, where it makes our crit damage 50% increase. So if you have a look over here, it says 1.75% crit damage, or sorry, 1.5 times, 1.75 times crit damage for the crit chance. So when we take Hod's amulet, it actually goes up to 2.62%. So now our crits are doing 2.6 times more damage. And I think today we will land up showing the Shadow Dirks, and then we can go from that in the future. We are going to sell this again for gold and points, and we're going to sell these for gold and points. We don't even need the feline paw either, so that's fantastic. We're going to level this up. You can only roll crit, cooldown, projectiles, and damage, so that's really cool. It does mean we are going to hit quite a high crit without re-rolling. We're already over 100%, which is fantastic, but the more crit chance you have, the better, because you don't have to then rely too much on your passive or the crit from that. But as you can see, huge amounts of damage coming from our skills because of the huge amount of crit that we have. And then if we push spacebar, even though R is the button for this, but if you push spacebar, it works as well, and you are able to dash every 4 seconds as well, which is fantastic for this boss. You know, if you feel like you're ever going to be in trouble, or you're hit by a laser, you can just dash out the way. Or if you've ever had that moment where you like just that millimeter away from a potion, or from gold, or from something, and you were just about to get it and you got to the next stage, or you died because of not being able to reach it, well, now you don't have to worry about that anymore, because on him you get the free dash, and you are able to dash out of trouble, although you can't dash out of trouble if you walk into a spark. So try not to do what I did there and walk into sparks. But as you can see, we've also got the Shadow Dagger. As you can see, we do shoot out summons, and that is what deals damage to enemies. It is random. If there are no enemies around you, it's just gonna run in a random direction. And the ascensions for it are actually really good as well. So because we're doing so much damage, we are actually going to double ascend our Dirk instead of our Shadow Daggers, and I'll explain why when we look at its ascension. So once we get the next crystal, I'll show you why we're going to ascend it, and you'll understand why it is going to be very strong as well. So the fact of the matter is one, you're going to get a triple dash on the Ascension. So the first Ascension gives you a triple dash, and then the next Ascension makes it so that you're going to have a very high chance of another shadow coming or showing up if you do land up critting with that shadow. So we do want to work on getting as much crit as possible on that, on our base crit as well, just so that we do have a higher chance of creating more shadows, because the Ascension works that for every it's every percentage of crit, every 15% crit it was, I do remember now, every 15% crit chance that you have, it increases the percentage chance of the Dirk reset, proccing again when it kills an enemy, and getting yourself to like a 30% chance is actually really high, because that means at least, well, theoretically, at least one of those Dirks are going to land up dealing the damage that they need to, or the crit, just that chance to reset. Sorry, my brain is not working too well today. So what happens is when you get that crit chance, let's just try to work this out, speak it out in normal terms. What happens is every time you crit, or every time you attack with the shadow, as you can see, that little shadow that comes out, every time he deals damage, there will be a 30% chance, well, I'm hoping to get to 30%, but there will be a chance for it to create another shadow to go out and kill other enemies. So that is the basis of the Ascension. We will take a look at it now. So over here, we do want to grab ourselves crit. Movement speed's very good as well, so we are going to grab those, and then that's what we look for in the shop. Grabbing ourselves mushrooms are fantastic, probably the best thing possible. We don't need effective probability. Projectile speed is pretty good as well, but let's just show you the Ascension I was speaking about. We do actually have to kind of level this up all the way to 10 as well, which I completely forgot about, but that's okay. So we click on Ascend. As you can see here, after dying, enemies have a 22% chance of creating a warrior shadow, and that is based on 15% of your crit chance. And then the Warrior Shadow now performs 3 dashes. So I do believe that the Warrior Shadow from Shadows Everywhere can also dash 3 times. But I haven't done extensive testing on that to double check just yet. That will be something for our future endeavors to check on. And then we're also going to take the totem to increase our damage we deal to bosses by 15%. That is just something I personally like. You can grab anything else you wanted over there. But we're going to grab the damage. We don't need fire or electric. And then we're looking for more crits because crit is everything on this character. And then we're going to keep going. I should have taken the cooldown. Cooldown is very strong on the character as well. But again, we're just grabbing all of the life, all of the crit and damage and things like that on him. But that's the way we're going to be building him. Luckily, there aren't any relics but defensive ones that work on him very well. But now you can see the shadow jumping around all over the place, dealing a huge ton of damage, which is just fantastic. I really do like that it deals a lot of damage. And over here we get grabbing the blue crystal, very good on the character because it is increased damage again. It is one of those damage relics, so very, very strong. I think this shadow clone, it's quite funny because the other day I put a gif in the Discord, not knowing anything about the character except that he works with the shadows, and I landed up putting a Naruto shadow clone jutsu there, and this kind of reminds me of it just a little bit. Or actually this reminds me more of man, what was his other friend, Naruto the shadow dude from Naruto? Oh man, I'm so bad. I know it's she something. I can't remember his exact name. You guys are probably going to hate me, especially if you are hardcore Naruto fans. But I really can't for the life of me remember what his name is. I'm so sorry, guys. But anyway, as you can see now, any relic that we do pick up is going to land up giving us just gold in this point that we can't use. So if we can't use the relic, we do just make it gold from our all gold's blessing. So just do that. Best way to handle this, because that's the best way for us to deal the most amount of damage and the best way to get gold other than collecting it from chests and things like that. So if we do pick up a lot of things that we don't need crit for, gosh, what am I saying now? So if we do pick up a lot of things that we don't use, then we just turn them into gold like we are doing. Now we don't have to worry about the shadow orbs because you can only collect a maximum of 5, which we already have, so it doesn't help picking them up. They don't give you any bonuses or anything like that. They do just drop now more often because there are more enemies spawning, so therefore there's a higher chance of getting them to spawn. So later on in the game it is a lot easier to collect your passive, but once you've got 5, you don't have to worry about it unless you get hit. Then you have to worry about it because you will lose one of the stacks. Now we do just need to make sure that didn't get rid of any of our crits, which it never, so that's perfect. And now we're just going to go and collect all of this juicy experience. We do have an XP ring, so we actually don't have to worry about that. We can go to all of our shrines over here and pick up the nice Astrid shield that we've got for ourselves. So this is perfect. If we do find the crystal heart, we will grab it because we've got the blue crystal. Otherwise, you don't normally take it. It is very, very dangerous, especially in Ragnarok mode. I would not take blue crystal, especially in Ragnarok 7, if you land up getting the curse that deals damage to you every 50 seconds. You take half a heart of damage. If you get that curse on you, it's pretty much saying goodnight, because you don't have any way of healing except for blue hearts if you take that crystal heart. So definitely not. I mean, it's definitely an amazing combination, but just not really that amazing if you have Ragnarok 7 curses on you that deal damage to you, like that one I just spoke about. Alright, let's go see what the raid shrine has. This one's just a bunch of elites, which is fantastic. Who doesn't like getting ourselves all of the elites or the juicy XP? We've got an attack speed bottle tonic over here. We are looking for the crit tonic. Getting ourselves that juicy crit will be very, very good. I can't remember if it was 20% or 40% like the attack speed, but I do think it is 20%, which is actually a huge amount of crit chance. So we will be more than happy to grab it. Luckily, the confusion from the bats in our farm do not take away any of your passives or damage you. So if you do get confused, you don't have to worry about that. The only thing is Mama Bat does do damage with its Confusion Ray, so do remember that as well, but the standard elites don't, so you are in a very good spot there to just, you know, tank it or get confused. You don't have to worry about it having hit you with regards to your passive. Okay. Then, let's see what else we can get over here. We can just dash around. It's so good having a dash on a character for a change, being able to just dodge enemies. Although, you know, we're so used to not using it that sometimes half the time I forget that it is a dash. We are going to grab this just for the one. Oh, we actually lost damage doing that. I did forget. So let's just speak about that quickly because this is important as well. The priorities of hearts. Red hearts do take priority over every other heart, and then green hearts prioritize over blue hearts. So blue goes over red, green goes over blue. So if we did have to pick up another green heart now, it would go over the blue heart, which in our case landed up being really bad because we needed as many blue hearts as possible. But if I do pick up another blue heart potion, I don't think anything happens because red hearts are prioritized over everything else. So unfortunately, I don't think there is any other way except if we lost the blue. Unless we lost the green heart, there is no way for us to get that back, unfortunately. So really cool that we have the dash over there because you can just dash through her ability like that. So really funny, really cool that that exists. And I should have focused on picking up a lot of gold instead. Ooh, but we got a gnocchi. So now we're going to focus on picking that up. Another nice thing to get is one of the Zodiac runes for crit, if you do manage to find those. Unfortunately, we don't have them because it's not that time anymore. So you're not going to find it any longer. We're not going to spend the 25 gold there. We are going to look for maybe one crit, which we did find. And we got, oh, that's not the crit tonic. Oh, that is so sad. Okay, we're actually going to grab the mirror over here. So that's going to give us a little bit gold. You guys are probably thinking this guy is crazy. Yes, I am spending all the gold and doing mirrors and things like that because I want to grab that crit tonic, which I am not finding here in the shop. So that is enough of the money spent. What was the past? Oh man, past was supposed to be crit as well, so that was so close there as well. I am hoping to get ourselves a crit tonic on one of these spaces, but as you see over there, we can dash through Mama Bat. I did take damage there from something. I don't know if that was from a enemy that we just landed up not seeing, but ow. I just lost 2 of my passives, which means we get a huge amount of damage reduction done. We've actually lost a lot of damage from that because now we lost our passive. We've lost a lot of damage because we've lost the crit. I mean the damage from the potion, the blue potion. So we've just done a big bad whoopsie over there. And now we need to grab all of our passives back. I need to get rid of this confusion because it is causing me confusion as well. Grab projectiles for our shadow dagger. That's going to just increase how many enemies we can hit with it. And I did forget that we picked up an Ascension crystal. So we're going to go and grab ourselves. We'll do this, why not? And let's go and sell some of the things we don't need over here. So we are going to land up selling what? There were potions or something that we picked up. There we go, combustion. And everything else over here we can use perfectly fine. So that's good, all in the hood there. Grab ourselves some area of effect and cooldown because, you know, we got to kind of push our stats up again. somehow, and this is the best way. And the only thing I don't like about the character is we're going to get so many levels, and his constellation, although really awesome, is quite small. And as you can see, although it is only a 20% chance of occurring, you can see how many times it does happen, and it just becomes madness. And I imagine this being reset and we get even a higher chance, a higher crit chance for this to all occur. It is just madness. This character is insane. I love him. I think he is probably one of the best characters in the game right now, completely busted. If anything, he will probably see a nerf very soon because he just is extremely overpowered. And over here we are going to grab the Crystal Soul because it just is so strong for our damage, and hopefully we won't get hurt like we were earlier, and we will be in a very good spot from there. So we'll see, maybe we can pick up more chests to give us more damage. That is going to be fantastic. Shadow Dirks are very good. Projectiles on our other weapon right now are very, very good as well, because again, the more projectiles means we are going to hit more things with our daggers, and we can just keep going for more things. Let's just add more crits. I mean, it's not really going to help us in any way, but you know, more crits, why not? If we landed up grabbing the other potion, the shadow potion, would be doing more damage with our crits, although we are dealing about 2.2k every now and then with a crit. So I think we've got the damage down. We don't really have to worry about any of that anytime soon. And because we do have Asteroid Shield, we don't have to worry about damage being done to us either. And there we go. I'm pretty sure that's more than 14 hearts. So we just beat the 14 heart limit over there, which is fantastic because, you know, that means that now we have even more damage coming on there. We've also got the damage from greed, but we haven't found too much money on the floor, although I haven't really given us the chance to find a lot of money because we've just been sitting there picking up chests and things like that. So no real chests being broken for money. Over here, blue hearts give us 25% increased damage. There we go, free damage from this. And as you can see, we are able to kill things very, very quickly as well. So this character gets very busted very quickly as soon as you double ascend one of the weapons. This happens with crossbow if you reset it, because crossbow does have to get the kill on the enemies. So as a solo weapon, it's very, very fun to see this. But the rogue, the Dirk, shadow daggers, or whatever you want to call them, sorry, let me get their name right. The shadow Dirks, very, very strong. Definitely a weapon you do want to be taking 100% of the time. And then whether or not you take whether or not you land up taking the deep shadows, the shadow crystals, or whether you take the shadow daggers is entirely up to you. But if you don't land up taking the shadow Dirks, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage because it's just insane amounts of damage, as you can see. Hopefully it works as I'm saying, and we'll see at the end screen that they are doing the most amount of damage. And you're probably thinking to yourself, but Broken, you double ascended this and you didn't double ascend the other shadow daggers. And well, the thing is that the shadow daggers only create more waves of projectiles, where this creates like a huge amount of going back and forth. Over here we could actually grab that. We will lose a bit of damage, so we're not going to do it because it doesn't actually affect our boss fight potential. We're still going to be fighting the boss with the same amount of, you know, effort as we would have otherwise. As you can see, we already just did damage to him instantly, which is fantastic. And he will die now. Oh, we phased him very quickly there. That's all that happened. Unfortunately, I am taking a lot of damage over here, so I am going to just run away. And there we go. Boss is dead. So really, really easy. We got our free 6 leaves. And let's just take a look at the damage. So Shadow Dirk, not doing more damage than the Crimson damage. The Crimson daggers. I really thought it would have, but unfortunately it wasn't. So those high crits must have been coming from the Crimson dagger, and that's how we build it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. And always remember, keep safe, survivors. Until next time, cheers.